All right, now it's time to talk about the photos you should be shooting on a wedding day that are going to make blogging easier, more strategic, and way more helpful for future couples. Now, I know you might be thinking, cool, just one more thing to worry about on a wedding day. That's just what I need, but stick with me. I promise. This is only a subtle shift in how you think while you're already photographing the wedding, but then it's going to allow you to create this piece of content that's going to serve your business for literal years. Now, if you haven't watched part 1 yet, go back and start there because that's where I explain why venue blogs help you get found way earlier in the planning process before couples are even trying to find and inquire with photographers. So you're going to be way ahead of your competition. So start there. So I'm going to talk about which photos that you actually need to get the day of the wedding, but I'm also going to explain why each one of those matter. That way it's easier to be more intentional when you're out there shooting. So if you want to grab the full extensive shot list, grab my free venue blog photo guide so that way you're not guessing on a wedding day. Print it out, save it to your phone. It's free and I'll have it linked below. So tip number 1. We are thinking like our future clients. So as you're moving throughout the day, think about the couple who has never seen this venue before. So think about like the couple that's just like sitting at home Googling it. I know some photographers offer venue walkthroughs for their clients. So if that's you, think about it like that. Like whatever you're doing when you do a walkthrough, the same thing can apply for this blog post. So take those pictures, the things that you're sharing with your actual clients so you can use it for future clients. So just ask yourself things like, if you've never stepped foot here before, what would you want to see? What would help you understand this space better? What would help me picture my wedding here? So that small mental shift is just going to help change like how you step back and frame a room, which speaking of taking a step back, tip number 2 is to get those wide shots. I cannot stress this enough. We are going to put on our real estate photographer hat here. The wider, the better. So think about this. If you are buying a home, you want all of those wide shots of the house. So that way you can decide if you want to actually go look at it in person or not. We have to think the same way that future couples that are researching online. So we're talking context over close-ups here. Now, of course, we know details are beautiful, but when we are specifically thinking about this resource blog that we're creating for this venue, details without the context don't answer planning questions. So shoot the day as you normally would, of course, but also just take a step back. Or you could change your lens, I guess. So instead of only tight florals, show where they are in the room. Instead of just photographing the cake, show the cake in relation to the space. Just like zoom out. I cannot stress that enough. When I'm blogging for my own clients, it never fails that I always wish I had more wide shots to showcase the environment. They're just super helpful because they show the layout, they show the lighting, they show the atmosphere. And when you sit down to go and write this blog post, it's going to make it so much easier to structure and it's just going to be so much more helpful. So just to talk about blog formatting and laying out the entire blog post, I'm going to go more in detail on this in another video. But horizontal wides, those are just amazing for full width blog images. It helps break up the text. And then the vertical wides, those are really great for Pinterest. They're great for having on a blog post for when someone's scrolling on their phone viewing the images. Or if you're wanting to try and lay out the images a little bit more artistic, maybe you want 3 vertical images side by side, or you're just doing 2. It looks really nice when you have those wide shots sprinkled in with those detail shots. Okay, and talking about the photos specifically, like this is where you have such a one-up, like you have a major advantage here. That's why I'm so gung-ho about this strategy for photographers, because let's be honest, venue websites don't always have the best photos. Don't get me wrong, some do actually hire photographers, but there are many that look like maybe they just used the point and shoot and shot them themselves. So how cool is it that you can go through, take beautiful photos to show off the space, but then you also get to sprinkle into this blog post the actual wedding day photos of the couple, of the beautiful details. It's like this combination of art and strategic real estate shopping for a venue that like meshes together, and like you as the photographer are the perfect person to have this resource for couples. And it's just a great place to be in. You are subtly marketing yourself and these couples can just fall in love with your work. All right, my next tip is to help them visualize themselves there. So couples love seeing real wedding photos in a space that they're considering, but they also want to imagine themselves here. So we are going to lean into that real estate analogy again, because this is very similar to selling a house. Realtors recommend removing photos, right? That's because buyers need space to picture their life in that home, and it's the same thing here. So you also just want to be sure that you're taking a few intentional photos without people in the space. So like an empty ceremony space, reception room before the guests enter, wide shots of the layout in general. And this will just give couples room to project their own story into that space, which of course is going to make your blog so much more helpful. Okay, next is to capture the spaces people usually overlook. Now, these photos you almost never see on a Venue website. So I just like to think through some of the questions that couples actually have and questions that I would have because I'm such a visual person. Like, where do we get ready? Is there parking? What does the cocktail hour space look like? Where will guests walk? Is there wheelchair accessible places? Like, what do those spaces look like? Like, these are the images that most Venue websites don't clearly show. And this is where photographers have a huge advantage because you're already moving through the space. You're already noticing the light. You just have to capture a few extra frames intentionally. So with all of this in mind, I'm not trying to get you to do a ton more work here. It's just you're already in the space. Take a few extra moments, snap those extra photos, put on your real estate hat, because when you walk away with a small collection of Venue-focused images, your blog instantly becomes more helpful, more discoverable, and much easier to write. And that's the goal. So don't forget to grab the Venue photo blog checklist below. It includes an extensive list of all the key Venue-focused areas to capture. Save it to your phone, print it out, put it in your camera bag. And in part 3 of this series, I'm so excited about this. I'm gonna show you how to take all of these images and put them into a structured Venue blog that actually shows up in Google and starts working for your business. We're gonna talk about all the nerdy SEO things, so search intent, headline structure, what to include, how to lay out your photos strategically, and just how to make writing it simple. So if you've ever struggled with getting your blog posts to rank, that's exactly what we're doing next. Make sure you're subscribed and I'll see you in part 3. Bye.